What's good, YouTube? It's Justice I Used to Be Paying. Today I'm back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about how Drake is kind of losing the people right now. But before I get into that, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to all those things. It helps me out a ton. And we are on the road to 25K, and we are extremely close. So make sure you are really subbing up. At the moment, it's almost impossible to consistently break down everything that's happening in the beef because it's moving at 1,000,000 miles per hour. There are drops like every 12 hours now at this point, a whole bunch of different chess moves. It's just really hard to continue to cover and break down every single thing that happens, even just every single song. As of today, I was writing a script pretty much all day Sunday about everything that happened after, Euphoria, about Family Matters, about Meet the Grams, about Not Like Us. Like, I was writing a really long script. The video might have been like 50 minutes by the time I was getting close to finishing the script. Like, I knew it was going to be a long video. But by the time I was really getting close to the end of the script, Drake drops The Heart Part 6, and that just ruined everything that I was kind of talking about. So it's just really hard to keep up with everything. But in this beef, I can cover the more ancillary parts of this beef for the time being. When everything's, kind of slowing down and a little bit more said and done, we can really talk about the bigger picture again. But for the moment, that's just not really possible right now. But in this video, I'm going to talk about the people's perspective on this beef, and more specifically really the culture, but the people as a whole and in general. And it's just very interesting to me that despite the fact that Drake is, the popular guy in the situation, it's really like, Drake, when it comes to this conversation with Kendrick Lamar, was the popular guy and Kendrick was the artsy guy, really respected MC, right? Those were the two kind of categories that these two were put in. But despite that fact, most people seem to be Team Kendrick. Most of the culture really seems to be Team Kendrick. Now, I want to be clear. There's a difference between seeing everything that's in front of you, listening to all the songs, and coming to the conclusion that Kendrick is winning, and what I'm talking about. Because I agree. I think Kendrick is winning this beef right now. I'm not talking about that, though. I'm not talking about people who are just listening and being like, you know what? Kendrick's probably got the upper hand. I'm talking about the fact that there's a large population of people, specifically more so in the culture than just people in general, but there's a large population of people who want to see Drake lose. Like, they're not just looking at this beef and being like, damn, Kendrick's no, they want to see Drake fall. Drake is not the hero in this situation. He's not the good guy, right? People aren't really feeling him like that right now. They're not really believing a lot of the stuff he says. And some people are even going into this beef not looking at it from the perspective of okay, I'm just going to listen to everything and whatever is the best, that's what I'm going to go with. Some people are going into this thing trying to find a way to make it so that Drake loses. Some people are going into this automatically off rip just thinking Drake bad, Kendrick good. And before people get in the comments like, bro, you just want Drake to win. Like, you're just mad because Drake's losing and everyone's saying, that's not what this video is about. I'm not making this video to say, oh my God, they're not being fair to Drake. You guys have to be fair to Drake. What? That's not why I'm making this video. I'm making this video to paint a picture and kind of illustrate the fact that the culture is shifting against Drake in front of our eyes. I want it to be known that this isn't just they're beefing and people are siding with Kendrick. No, there's a lot of people who really want to see him lose, more than I've ever seen ever. Because Drake has always been the popular guy. He's always been the guy with the numbers, and he still is, and probably forever will be that guy. But in terms of the culture and people liking Drake, it's probably at an all-time low in terms of approval rating. Maybe since the beginning, very early stages, 2009 of his career. People really aren't feeling Drake right now. That's what I want to illustrate in this video. And how these things are kind of coming into play. Not necessarily that you guys need to treat Drake fair and do that. No, I want to make it clear that we're seeing a shift. And really the main thing that kind of proves this is the reaction to the allegations that both sides have thrown at each other. Because there's been a lot of allegations on both sides, but it's very clear who people believe and who people don't believe. For the most part, nobody really believes a lot of the stuff that Drake is saying. And for the most part, a lot of people believe there's validity in what Kendrick's saying. Now, it's not ridiculous to believe Kendrick more as a narrator than Drake, because just in a vacuum, I would agree, right? I would say that Kendrick Lamar is probably a more reliable narrator than Drake because of their character and their track record and the way that they carry themselves and their history with potential controversies in the past. It makes a lot of sense why Kendrick is the more reliable narrator. But when Kendrick moves and says something about Drake, everyone moves, right? When he says anything, oh my God, I can't believe this. Drake, oh my God, he's this, he's that. And then when Drake says something or alleges something about Kendrick Lamar, nobody believes it. Nobody really cares. And I think that alone shows a lot about how people are feeling at the moment. When you stop getting that benefit of the doubt, it shows that people aren't really rocking with you. right? Like there's a difference, right? There's a difference when you're going against Meek Mill and you're at the peak of your career in terms of like numbers and stuff. Like Drake was about to sell 1 million first week with views. You know what I'm saying? But like there's a difference there when it comes to that benefit of the doubt. People were willing to give Kendrick the benefit of the doubt in this situation before they even really see any proof, because Kendrick doesn't really have a track record of anything crazy. And the people like Kendrick Lamar. They're feeling Kendrick right now. Drake, he doesn't get that. Drake's going to have to come with 7 layers of proof for anything that he says because people aren't feeling it. Everyone has been talking about Kendrick and the claims that he made against Drake when he basically called him a human trafficker. He said that, you know, he likes underage girls and that he's hiding an 11-year-old kid, an 11-year-old daughter to be more specific, and he doesn't want the world to know about it. Everyone took these claims pretty much at face value and 100% truth. Like people were like, oh my God, this is crazy. Drake's got to address this stuff. Drake's got to prove this stuff is false. Otherwise, like he's finished. But when Drake said, oh, Kendrick, you know, has been putting his hands on his woman and that Kendrick, one of his kids, isn't his, like nobody really believes that. Everyone's like, just, come on, Drake, like that's a lie. Like we're not really going for that. It sounds good, right? That's basically everyone's response. Like, yeah, okay, buddy, it sounds good. And let me be clear. People have been saying that Drake has or likes underage girls for a long time, and they've been putting stuff together that they see on the internet to be like, see, look, like I'm telling, like, so that claim, I understand people being like, no, like I actually have some stuff to prove that claim. But the other claims that Kendrick made have as much proof as Drake's claims, which is pretty much none. So people taking Drake's word and being like, nah, but taking Kendrick's word and being like, yeah, probably, is more proof that the culture's not feeling Drake. The culture and Drake, there's a disconnect. Drake is losing the people. Another thing that plays into like Drake and his kind of disconnect with the culture, especially right now, is how he just always finds a way to say something that's gonna rub people the wrong way. Like that's always just a little off. Like why the hell would you say that? So in Family Matters, he has a collection of bars where he says, always rapping like you about to get the slaves freed. You just acting like an activist. It's make believe. Don't even go back to your hood and plant no money trees. Now this could be something that is really good. Like this could be a good angle to attack Kendrick Lamar off of, him being like a fake activist and, you know, he's not as woke as he pretends to be. He's not this MLK figure that a lot of people like to paint him out to be. This could be good, but he kind of ruined it when he said, always rapping like you about to get the slaves freed. Because when you're having this disconnect with the culture and people are questioning your blackness and do you even like black people and all these type of things, and then you mention the slaves in a negative manner, it just comes off as weird. It just comes off really strange. And people are not even really being like really logical and fair to this bar. Like they're just being like, oh, why is he trying to make freeing the slaves a bad thing? When it's very clear what he's trying to do here. He just tried to execute it in a very weird way and it just didn't work. So now people are looking at this and not even really addressing, you know, him trying to paint Kendrick as this fake activist. They're just like, bro, why are you rapping about the slaves like it's a bad thing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he just has this slight disconnect to where everything he does is just a little off. Like we haven't really seen anything to prove that he's trafficking people, which is a crazy claim. Like that's a wild claim to put out there. And again, the 11-year-old daughter stuff, like we haven't really seen anything to prove that, but Kendrick has the benefit of the doubt of the people. He has that. Drake, not so much. And to be very clear, before people try to like pin some weird stuff on me, Drake definitely has some situations with underage girls that are very questionable, right? Some very questionable stuff, mainly the stuff with Millie Bobby Brown. Most of the other stuff is kind of hit or miss. And of course, like the video of him with the girl on stage that was like 17, right? I believe that's from like 2014. I don't know. I don't remember the year, but those two are the main situations that are like really like, bro, what the hell is this, right? So he has some weird stuff that he definitely needs to address and people should be criticizing him for it. I criticize him for it. I'm not getting on here to be like, no. That's real. Like that's real stuff that people need to criticize him for. But I just don't think that he's actually like a P3DO. If you're going to ask me in my heart of hearts, do I believe he's a P3DO? No, I don't. But I do believe he has a questionable line of events in his past that needs to be addressed. Like that stuff is weird, but I don't actually think he's a P3DO. But what I want everyone to understand is that these dudes are going to lie on each other. Like a lot of the stuff that's going to be said is a stretch. It's a reach. This is rap. This is a rap battle. That's what they do, right? Not everything is going to be 100% true, but it just seems like the allegations and the accusations towards Drake don't really need that level of validity because people are tired of Drake. They don't want to see you anymore, bro. They're not really rocking with you anymore. Drake really has kind of lost the people. Like, people really want to see him lose, specifically a lot of people in the culture. And the stuff that Kendrick is saying about Drake is stuff that's been said about Drake forever now at this point, right? It's stuff like he's a culture vulture, you know, he's a colonizer, he's an outsider, he doesn't really fit in, this isn't really his culture. These are things that have been said about Drake for a super long time now, but we've just kind of gotten used to Drake to the point where it's like nobody really hears these conversations, right? These convos kind of died down as Drake progressed in his career because they were very prevalent at the beginning, from like 2009 and like 2011, this was every single conversation. Every single old head, every single hip hop fan was like, bro, this dude Drake's an outsider. He's a con. He's not really one of us. Like, he's not really a rapper for real. He's a pop star. He's not an MC. Like, these were conversations that people were having at the beginning of Drake's career. But as Drake became number one and he was just so dominant for so long, there was really no point in having these conversations because it was like arguing with the brick wall. It was like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, he's an outsider. He's number one, bro. It doesn't matter. Like, by the time we get to, you know, the early to mid 2010s, these combos didn't really matter anymore. They had already been happening a whole bunch. People didn't really care, and he just kept going up. By the time we got to, you know, Take Care, by the time we got to Nothing Was the Same, by the time we get to Views, by the time we get to If You're Reading This It's Too Late, when we get to Control and God's Plan and all these songs, these conversations had kind of died down. Nobody was really like, they were there, but nobody cared anymore. It's like, bro, it's Drake. He's been around for forever. He's number one. Like, it's Drake. Who cares? But now, as we kind of get closer to the end of Drake's career, these conversations have started to build back up. And if it's not the end of Drake's career, or not the end of his career, but the end of his like mainstream spotlight, even if this isn't the end of his mainstream spotlight, and he's still got 5 to 7 more years as the number one rapper in terms of numbers, people have gotten sick of Drake. So these conversations are coming back now because it's like, bro, when is this dude going to go away? For a lot of people, I'm not saying for me personally, but for a lot of people, Drake has become the standard. He's become the guy that's been number one for so long that they're annoyed. They're sick of him. He's the color blue. Drake is vanilla ice cream. Drake is cheese pizza. People are tired of this. They're so tired of him being up there that now it's like we're bringing back these conversations because this dude is a colonizer. You know what? He is a culture voter. You know what? Like, that's what the culture's kind of on right now. And that's why not only is Kendrick, you know, he's ahead because he's, I think, dropped better songs, but he's ahead because the people are backing him. So now Kendrick Lamar is not only just the guy that's going against Drake in this rap beef, but he's a representative for a large part of the culture who's tired of Drake, right? People feel like he used Atlanta. People feel like he's used these smaller artists and rode their wave and kind of ruined their career, like Black Boy JB and I Love McConan. He's used the AI Snoop Dogg and AI Tupac, and people thought that was distasteful. He's never really championed like the people and black people like that. He doesn't speak on black issues. He doesn't really do anything like that. He's got a weird kind of affinity for dissing like Meg Thee Stallion and all that stuff. Some people feel like his music hasn't progressed. They feel like he hasn't matured. They feel like his music is still for kids. They feel like he's still rapping like he's 23 years old. They feel like he is still stuck in this mold and he's become this kind of statue that no one can get past. He's like a ceiling that no one can get past, and people are tired. On Drake's most recent track, he talked about how Kendrick Lamar, you know, exposed him for having a daughter or whatever, but he said that that was a fake mole. He didn't really have a mole. He had no insider in Drake's camp. They sent him the information about the daughter and stuff, and he still ran with it. And, you know, he made the song and didn't really know what he was talking about. He had bad information. And instead of people being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Drake tricked Kendrick Lamar. This is one of the best chess moves I've ever seen. People immediately went, oh, he's capping. Like, he's just saying this because Kendrick exposed him and he saw some people on the internet saying this, so he's copying what they're saying. Nobody, like, it's very clear that the people don't want Drake anymore. It's just so, it's never been more apparent, right? I mean, they still might like Drake, but they really don't want him like they used to, right? Because if this was like another situation, if you flip this on its head and Kendrick says that, nah, Drake, I fed you some fake information about, you know, let's say his son not being his son. Let's say Kendrick set that up for him to say that. They would be saying this was the best chess move of all time. Now, I don't know if which side is true. I don't know if Drake has a fake mole and he sent Kendrick the information, or maybe it was real and Kendrick exposed him and now Drake's trying to cover it up. We don't really know what's happening. Okay, we don't have proof from either of these gentlemen on any claim that's been made so far. There's really no proof. But what are people going with? The benefit of the doubt. And who is getting the benefit of the doubt? It's definitely not Drake. because the people don't want him anymore. On the Heart Part 6, Drake talks about, Kendrick being a hypocrite because he's the reason R. Kelly's music is still on Spotify. And there was this whole story maybe some years ago. I don't know, maybe 2018 now, I think, because X was still alive. It was X and R. Kelly. Both of their music was starting to get taken down off of Spotify. And so people had some issues with this. And Kendrick Lamar, at least a representative of his team, threatened to take down his music from Spotify if they continued with the takedown of XXXTentacion's music and R. Kelly's music. So Drake's like, oh, well, why do you want to take down your music in support of R. Kelly if you're so against this, this, and this, right? And people immediately went, oh, that was disproven already. Like, nah, that wasn't even Kendrick who wanted to take the music down. That was his manager. And while, yes, Top was the one who made the public statement and was like, listen, if you do this, we're taking Kendrick's music down. But you really think Kendrick had no say in that? I find that a little hard to believe, that Kendrick had no say in his music potentially being wiped from, I think, the biggest music platform in the world. He had no say in that. None at all. It was just all Top Dog. Kendrick was in the background like, hey, I don't know what to, like, come on. That sounds a little ridiculous, does it not? It sounds a little out there. I feel like Kendrick has a say in whether his music is on one of the biggest platforms in the world or not. Or at least maybe he doesn't technically, contractually have a say, but he would have that conversation, right? There would be some sort of conversing done with the artist. And if there wasn't, I'm sure Kendrick would have came out and been like, nah, bro, don't tie my name to R. Kelly and all that extra BS that's associated with Spotify, because Spotify was taking these artists down who had done some heinous things or, something like that. Assault crimes, sex-based crimes. He was, they were taking a lot of that stuff down. So you think if Kendrick didn't want that to be on his name, he wouldn't have came out and been like, hey, y'all, come on. I feel like that's a little bit of a reach. I feel like people are caping a little bit for Kendrick Lamar in this situation. X even made a video thanking Kendrick Lamar directly.
And in specific, thank you, Kendrick Lamar. I didn't want to say anything to make him subject to any negative energy whatsoever, because people find some weird way to do that. But thank you again, and I appreciate you, and many blessings to you and your family. I know,
but that's besides the point. I'm showing this, or I'm talking about this to prove that when Drake says something, there's so much salt that's taken with it. It really damn near doesn't matter at this point. The well has been poisoned beyond repair now. It's beyond repair. The people don't care about what Drake's saying. They don't. Drake has been put in so many no-win situations, mostly because of Kendrick Lamar, which I've talked about in my video on Euphoria, but he's been put in so many no-win situations. It's insane. With the whole P3DO stuff, right? People have been saying to Drake really for years, but especially now since Kendrick has brought it back up, nah, bro, you got to address that. He addressed everything else, but he didn't address that allegation when the song Meet the Grams came out. People were like, nah, he addressed him not having an 11-year-old daughter because he said it on Instagram, but he didn't address everything else. Why would he not address that? Oh my God, he didn't address it because he's guilty. Now he gets on the song and says, hey, y'all, I'm not that. Everyone's like, nah, bro, definitely addressed it because he's guilty. There's no way you would publicly address that if you weren't guilty. Because if somebody accused me, I'm not saying, he's damned if he do, damned if he doesn't in certain situations. And that only happens to people when the culture's not messing with you. Okay, because we've seen people like R. Kelly. Listen, R. Kelly was running around for 20, 30 years. Still as the king of R&B, people were loving him, playing his music in the club, and everyone knew what he was doing. Everyone did. There was literally a tape. There was a video. There was video proof. This isn't even like Drake where it's like, yeah, he's done some weird stuff, but I don't know. No, there was video proof of some foul stuff with R. Kelly. But guess what? The people were feeling him. So he was protected. Man, stop going after R. Kelly because y'all want to see a black man go down, man. Y'all going after R. Kelly, man. Them little girls was fast, bro. Them little girls was fast. They mamas wanted them to do that. Yeah, what, you gonna blame R. Kelly? Some of these girls be looking older. These were the conversations that a lot of people, I know people don't want to talk about it, but a lot of people in the culture were having because they were messing with R. Kelly. There's an entire Boondocks episode about it because people were messing with R. Kelly so much, they were willing to look past the allegations, not even allegations, the proof that was in front of their face. So it goes to show that now, when it's Drake in this situation, they not messing with you like that, bro. They're not. Drake is normally the guy who wins on the internet. Even in 2018, when he lost that beef to Pusha T, on the internet, it was Drake lost, but look at the numbers, bro. Pusha T's career is dead. Like, nobody cared, right? They cared. Don't get me wrong. They cared. But in the long run of things, this didn't really have that much of an effect on Drake's career when you look at how well he's still doing to this day, up until this point. But Kendrick is not Pusha T. Kendrick has way more popularity and way more respect in the culture, even though Pusha T is very well respected. He has more respect, and this is why it's disrupting everything. That beef in 2018 that Drake lost couldn't knock him off of a pedestal, but this one could, because Kendrick has that. When Kendrick says something, people move. He has a level of respect that Drake just does not have in rap. I'm sorry. This isn't me disrespecting Drake. This isn't me trying to glaze Kendrick. It's just the accurate representation of the situation. He has respect that Drake will probably never get. Not that Drake doesn't have respect. He just doesn't have what Kendrick has. So when Kendrick says something culturally, people move. When Drake says something, they think about it, they wait on their own, they make their own decision, then they move or not. It's just that simple. They may think about it, they may sit at home and they go, I don't know. Then they move. They don't just go, oh my God, Kendrick said it, move. And this respect that Kendrick has, with a mixture of people just being sick of Drake's stick and his gimmick and everything that he's been doing for the last 15 years, is why I believe Drake is losing or has lost the people. But maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, maybe you think I'm wrong. If you agree, please leave a like. Well, if you disagree too, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Do all those things. Let me know down below how you feel about this video. And if you made it this far, I greatly appreciate you. I truly do. Have a good day. Be safe. Be blessed. Peace.